Hey, boys and girls, and welcome back to the Rebelcast. As we all know, the Smash community itself is a cesspool of lies, degradation, and just it's the pit of avarice as far as communities go. And the facts that I've discussed and learned in the time, explaining all of this. But just when we thought it was the darkest point, we have a star in the light. We have someone here trying to fight that fight. And I've been looking forward for a week to talking to this guy after talking to Tech. You know him, you love him. He is the FranChise. What's going on, man?
It's doing pretty well. How are you guys doing?
You doing good, Trips?
I'm good.
She's good. We're good.
We're good.
So, this is the first time we've ever interacted, correct?
Yes.
Immediately after doing the Tech video, I reached out to you because you were the person I wanted to talk to the most because you're the one fighting the fight. Tech has clearly got battles on many fronts, and I wish him victory in all of those. Tech is a good guy from speaking to him to interacting with him, and I think you would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But someone has to take on this situation because this is where y'all came from. It is the Smash community itself, right?
Yeah.
We loved it, right? I came from a different era. I was a fan of the gods, the Armadas, the Hungryboxes, not the Leffens, but and everyone else. Like talking about Mango and PP and
Yeah.
That's Dr. PP for you who don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love those guys. Like watching the story of Armada just becoming this monster juggernaut and doing what he did in his time. The battles between Mango and Mewtwo King, and ultimately watching the culmination of all the gods in Hungrybox becoming with Puff one of the greatest players of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And before we get into that, I do want to stop. I love Hungrybox was my favorite, and to this day will always be my favorite player. I know that he is not everyone's favorite person. I get that, but Juan de Biedma is one of the baddest, coldest motherfuckers in the game ever.
Yeah.
I mean, that ice stare he gave you, the fucking passion he had with a little tiny pink ball of fluff. And she happens to just love Jigglypuff, so there's that. But what happened to him is unfair, and you were one of the few people that went in there and really defended him. So I personally want to thank you for defending my favorite player.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people in the community, they have like their stories of like their interactions with HBox, and I'm not gonna like pretend like he's a perfect person or that he hasn't wronged anybody before. He's even acknowledged it himself. But the like hate storm that he got between like late 2017 to it's even continuing to now.
Yeah.
It's just not fair.
It's not, and I would agree with you. Like he admits, but at the same time, he's a competitive guy. I get having that chip on your shoulder to be the best. I get that. I want every interview I do to be the best, and I will criticize myself more than anybody. So I think that nobody is criticizing him more than he criticizes himself. Do you think that's a fair analysis?
Yeah, I'd say so.
So before we get into that, though, the reason I first found your channel was I needed to get vaccinated. I needed to get haxinated. I needed to find out what was going on and what the take is, man. So the story of Hax, I'll let you tell the story because you're right there on the front lines. Why did Hax get so much hate? Because he was a damn good player.
Yeah.
What happened?
So basically, the way he tells it is like we all know, like Leffen's not the best person in the world. He has a history of some bad things that he's done to other people in the community. And this Samox, the guy who released the first the original Smash Brothers documentary, which is amazing.
Beautifully done.
Yeah, he made a sequel to it called Metagame, and in one of the episodes, there was a segment where some of the people who were wronged by Leffen in the past, they did like interviews and kind of shared their experiences with Leffen, and they detailed very like bad behavior by Leffen. One of the people went
going back to like evidence.zip and
evidence.zip.
Which for those of you who don't know, evidence.zip, and don't let anybody try to like change this. This is what evidence.zip is. It was a collection of things that Leffen had done early in his career, treating people like shit, just being a downright disgusting person. And it wasn't all over the world this happened. This was in Switzerland. This is where Leffen's from.
Oh, in Sweden.
So I'm sorry, Sweden. All of the people, I've been fucking thinking he was in Switzerland the whole time. So in Sweden, his fellow compatriots, his fellow players made this.
One of those people was actually Hax. Some of them were American, like 2 or 3 of them. One of them being Hax, who was basically was just cyberbullying, because obviously they're from different countries. It's not like
you're right. Thank you for correcting me. You're correct.
Like face to face, like
yeah.
But yeah, so basically there were mainly 3 interviews. One was Armada, as we mentioned before, just saying like who was kind of like the head of the whole banning process. That was like, we need to do something. It was he described it as his behavior was like poison for the community. So,
and I respect Armada. If there's ever been a spokesman for Smash that could have done great things and still can do great things, I think it is Armada, because he's a very smart guy. He understands his role, and he's just a competitive guy.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry for cutting you off again. Go ahead.
The other one was Mike Hager, who
I love that name.
Who was suffering from depression. He ended up, I believe, having to be hospitalized, like mentally, like a mental hospital, like twice for it.
Mm-hmm.
And Leffen made fun of that. Then this player Rocky, who lost his hearing at, I believe, the age of 5. He had to get like hearing implants to be able to hear again.
Mm-hmm.
And Leffen made fun of that. And then there was just like basic like manipulation and bullying, like turning people, their like friends, against them and like their social circles, making up lies about them, like Mike Hager taking the drug LSD.
Yeah.
And just like trying to like isolate them from the community, just like manipulating their friends and stuff like that. So that's why he was banned. And this happened like almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is
and it was compiled in that zip. And I want to make it clear, no matter who tries to rewrite history, that is what happened. I was there. I witnessed this when it happened, when he got banned. I was a member of that community. I watched this. I was disgusted just like everybody else. And what disgusts me more, and we'll get into this in a bit, is the whitewash and people trying to change this to be, it was just a bunch of Reddit posts. It wasn't. This is stuff that really happened.
Mm-hmm. So
Hax, how is he, he came forward with this. Why the backlash on Hax?
Well, basically, first getting back to the reasons why he made the video. One of the like actual things you can kind of criticize Samox for. This is kind of like how this all began.
Okay.
Like Samox didn't interview. I don't think he interviewed Leffen, or at least he didn't put the interview clips that they did in there to kind of like be more like neutral, which normally would be like a fair thing to do. I think Leffen deserves to have a platform to share his side of the story.
You mentioned that.
The problem is that what happened is the night that it aired, Leffen was like, "Oh, this is slander. This is defamation, or whatever. These are lies. This is terrible," when it's not. And he basically pressured Samox to remove that part of the documentary that had the people's experiences with Leffen at the time. He pressured him into omitting them from the any future runs of the documentary, and then replaced it with a Leffen episode that was narrated by Leffen, and basically allowed Leffen to control the narrative, basically.
So I'm going to ask you some questions as far as that goes. Do you think it was the fear of Leffen's fan base, which they are very rabid on his behalf? Do you think it was that fear that made him completely change the doc?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, Leffen has a large stan base that'll basically parrot whatever he says.
Do you think that's also the reason why the moderators and all these people bow to Leffen as much as they do?
I'd say so. Like, especially now, but like back then, like usually, like Leffen would instigate beefs with people, and you'd either just just hate him for the rest of your life, or just concede and let him get his way. That's kind of how Leffen works.
You'd mentioned in one of the episodes when you talked about Twitter and the Hax series, how Twitter can be very toxic. I think Twitter's fantastic. It's a way for you to interact with people as if you're talking to them like every day. I think that's a good thing about Twitter. The bad thing about Twitter is you only have so many characters to do it in.
Yeah.
Because of that, you said it's a battle of attrition. I believe that's how you worded it.
That's basically what it is. like when you're trying to argue with someone who I talked about how people like the argument style that they go for, they just kind of write like short quips to kind of like score quick points or whatever. And instead of making like a long detailed explanation that's factually correct and actually sound, you would make like a shorter like quippier like talking point essentially that may or may not be true, but because those things stick a lot easier than those long form long form arguments that may be true but they're longer and harder to follow.
So you're saying I can't do a 46-page manifesto on how stuff happened?
Yeah, basically. Like,
Hey,
it's easier to just say, oh, this guy groomed a minor than the detailed explanation for why that's not true.
So basically, it's basically like monkeys throwing shit at each other, and whoever has the biggest hand of shit is going to win.
Yeah. And the worst part is that if these shorter takes are, like, they're a lot harder to respond to properly because you can just continue to spam these over and over again, and it turns into a battle of stamina because you don't want to have to correct them for the 100th time.
And if you know the game, basically, you can outwit somebody, not by facts, by
just by looking like you're winning, essentially.
So when Hax put all this out, it sounds like anybody who has a brain, anybody who has knowledge and can break things down should have been on his side, but it turned. And why was that?
It was a bad video. It was a really bad video.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. I ended up watching it, and I was like, oh, come on, bro. Come on. No.
Like, I want to emphasize that bad doesn't mean wrong. I think Hax overall is on the right side of things, which is why I defend him. Yeah. Because I don't think I feel like defending Leffen would be playing devil's advocate. Like, even though there were some, like, legitimately bad arguments that Hax was making and some bad analogies and a ton of reaches, I don't think that's what should be emphasized, because at the end of the day, I think Hax is right overall.
I do too. So we'll take a step back here. When I went to your channel the first, and saw the Hax stuff, I also looked back at the beginning and saw the tutorials you did. But this is where people started picking up on who this FranChise guy. He has a good head on his shoulders. What made you do that? Okay, you could have been like everybody else who was in the Smash community and just kept silent. You could have not said a word. What motivated you to finally say, no, this is wrong. I have to say something?
Really just watching the Hax videos, I was like, I feel like people are missing the point here. And I feel like I now have a platform. I had like 1,000 subs at the time. I had just hit 1,000 subs, and I was like, I kind of have a platform to say something. I want to say something, and I'm going to do it. And I'd also been like following tech for a while at that point. I really hopped on like the tech. I'm not going to say bandwagon, but that like.
You can say bandwagon because I did the same fucking thing. So you're
I basically hopped on the tech bandwagon around the time the Captain Zach video.
Same.
Yeah.
Well, because so in talking about that, right? I don't think I jumped on the bandwagon. I just felt like he was the first guy that I saw was actually speaking up about shit that I had issues with. I mean, at the time, I didn't have a channel for shit, and I was getting away from YouTube because I was in drama communities. So I just watched tech for fun, and I saw this guy who's like, at the end of it, he goes, "Oh, now y'all want to kiss my ass? Well, I'm gonna do my happy dance until you go fuck yourselves." But he fucking hit it. Zach is a piece of shit.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, this makes sense. And then after that, the Hax stuff came out, and it was damn. And I just was so there's nothing wrong with following that bandwagon of techs, because at the end of the day, and tell me if you disagree, if tech comes out and he's wrong and he doesn't clarify, I'm going to say, tech, you fucked up. That's some bullshit. I think he would respect the fact that someone would call him on his bullshit if there was actually something to call.
Yeah, and he's done that before, like with his Christian Bishop video. He's made videos on other people. Like, he made a video on Omni, and now they're friends. So it's like
FaZe Rug.
Yeah.
So you went into this, and I'm going to bring up some things that you brought up, and you're very well spoken. So if anybody would ever want to criticize you, tell me if they know what the fucking Overton window is. You talked about the fucking Overton window, and if you'd like to explain the Overton window before we get into this for those who are not so versed in such things.
Basically, it's this concept where, let's say, there are different ends of like the spectrum. It's used in political science. There's different ends of the political spectrum. So you have like ideas that are considered normal and reasonable
Mm-hmm.
in the middle, and the further you go out from either side, they get more and more like radical and
Mm-hmm.
unthinkable. So the idea is that you can it's an arbitrary window, so different ideas that were once considered unreasonable can be considered reasonable over time depending on the certain like social climate or whatever. So like take for instance like LGBTQ rights. If you go back like 50 years, a lot of that stuff would seem unthinkable, but now it's just like
Every day.
it's normalized or every day. Yeah.
Trips, I got to
And
get my big thinking cap on. This guy's going to make me use all my brain cells. Fuck. So, in that same concept, the idea is that these people will use, you used HBox in your description, I'll use it here,
Mhm.
a ban on Puff. Far
Yeah.
to the fucking extreme.
That's
fuck.
actually stupid.
I mean, what the fuck? You're banning a fucking pink ball of marshmallow with a fucking green headband.
She's not even the best character in the game.
No, she can be beaten. Mewtwo King used to be a Puff character, but she, not to the fucking degree as Hungrybox, but still was beaten.
It's like, but that video, I'm not going to say that it paved the way. Like this whole ledge grab limit issue had gone back way before, like back to 2014 when Hax first brought it up. But that video kind of like set the tone for a ledge grab limit to be in place. So it's like you attack the most unthinkable parts of the spectrum, and it makes everything else seem a lot more reasonable by comparison.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy, but this is less crazy.
Yeah, it's like a compromise, basically.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I want $1 million. It's like, what? No, you get 5, and you slowly push until you get that million.
Yeah, and it's okay. Not that I think he planned this, but it's a brilliant tactic for naive people. Like, you can inch your way for as long as you keep pushing, you can inch your way. Mm-hmm. And so eventually, with all of this, Hax went downhill, and he was banned for bullying. Which it's an extreme, especially when people have openly lied about things. Jisu,
yeah,
and they're getting away with murder, almost actually, basically,
yeah.
And I felt bad for Hax because, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm the biggest Hax fan, and especially after watching everything he did and what have you. But he was making valid points. He just did not have the proper delivery. Enter you. And
like at this point, it's the consensus opinion Hax should not be banned right now. Like even people who said his videos were terrible was like, this ban is kind of stupid at this point because it's like eight months now. How many months now? It's been since like end of June.
And it's crazy how that worked because it's right around the time all those allegations for all kinds of crap happened and fucking people were jumping on that bandwagon like crazy.
Yeah.
So in your Hax series, you also brought up some folks. Let's talk about Slime, who he has the best fucking name to describe him. Like someone said something about Hugs, and I said, well, Hugs is a worse fucking tag because this guy has no empathy. Might as well call him fucking unaccountable dipshit. That would be a great gamer tag or good fucking tag for that guy. But Slime, who's not funny. Fuck that guy, man.
Like sometimes he'll make like a joke that's half decent,
but he rides that joke into the ground. Like I can visualize a clown fucking in the grave, honking his nose, going, "I'm Slime."
The incel squadron invading Smash.
Dude, he's calling y'all the box. Oh my god, how did you word it? The box technique.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's in a box. You get a box, and you get a box. Fuck that guy.
You're a Keemstar Junior. Shut up. That's how it works.
That's like, okay, so because of tech, I've given Low Tier God a second look. That's like everybody calling people Low Tier God 2 or Low Tier God 3. You know what? Dude, shut the fuck up. Dude, shut up. You're not funny.
At least have a legitimate reason
to
put someone in a box. Because like if I want to say like Leffen's Low Tier God 2, I could actually like describe why I think that and explain it in detail.
Is it the goofy haircuts or? So, Hax is banned. And that didn't sit well with a lot of people. you came out with this series of videos, which was very well done, and I've said it before. And yeah, it's just. And towards the end, you do the Leffen video.
Mm-hmm.
What made you finally? Because let me look. Scrutiny-wise, you could have caught shit for that. Like you going after Leffen as a smaller channel, he could have you could have been goo on his boot, but you did it anyway. What made you do it?
Just felt like it was just waiting. Because what I noticed is when I ended anti-Haxers,
yeah,
I believe Hax in some other interview, I didn't actually see it at the time, but looking back on it, it's insane. He was like, I think in the future, some Guilty Gear player, like, because Leffen branches out into other fighting games, one of them being Guilty Gear Strive.
Mm-hmm.
Hax was like, we could maybe see like Leffen in one of their communities going after some Tekken or Guilty Gear Strive player for no reason. And lo and behold, look what he does.
Well, see, okay, and you made a very, very valid point as well when I'm going back. The only community he seems to be able to get away with his shit is in the one he came from.
Yeah, the one community that'll tolerate him.
That's a problem. The Smash community itself is a problem. And I don't know when it happened, because this wasn't okay. So he was minuscule whenever it was the era of the gods. But as we've gotten further to the eras of the Zeros and the Zacks, don't get me started on that whole Bayonetta thing, fucking little shithead, and everything. And before that, it has soured. This was a fucking awesome place to play and watch. And I remember spending hours watching those tournaments. I watched the Evo tournament where fucking Hungrybox won his first Evo title, and I was rooting for him the whole fucking time. You know, when he went back and he beat Armada in 2 sessions to win it, and I felt for the guy. I actually watched the there's an episode on a channel, it's one of the more popular channels, where they show the whole documentary of him doing it and how hard he worked and him breaking down into tears, and that was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And they piss on the memory of that with the way things are now. And I think you agree with me. Smash could have been and can be still a great community, but there's things that got to be cleaned up. I mean,
yeah,
from the top
like,
to the bottom.
Some people say like, oh, they need to like tear this whole thing down, burn it to the ground. It's unsafe, salvageable. But like most of the people, like a lot of the people that support Jisu, Leffen, they were friends with them years before for years. They support them just because they're friends. It's not like I don't really think it's some like conspiracy or like corruption. No. A lot of it's just like Zane's friends with Jisu and has been friends with Jisu for like years. Of course he's going to support his friend. That's just logic.
And I agree with that.
Zane's a bad person. Yeah, that exactly. You can still hold your friends accountable, but at the same time, like I don't see Zane as a bad person for sticking up.
No, not at all.
That's why I don't think it's.
And I think that's loyalty is lost in this age, in this era we live into. So that is a good thing. Loyalty is a good thing, but sometimes loyalty leading into stupidity is not right. And ignorance.
That's Slime. That's Hugs.
And that's what I'm saying. Slime outed himself as a fucking idiot, in my opinion. Yeah. Again, I have to put that out preface. I'm not picking on you. Even though your name is fucking Slime.
I'm picking on him.
Fucking idiot. Call me an ISIS member. Fuck you. He didn't even watch the videos. Oh, no. Yeah. I don't need to watch. He told me not to watch it, so I'm not going to. Yeah. I want to know what fucking mental jujitsu combat fucking she's doing to these guys. I mean, I get it. And like I said in the tech video, she's not hard on the eyes. She's an attractive young woman. And a lot... I hate doing this. I'm going to put somebody in a box. Putting people in a box, there's a lot of guys who are in these communities. I think you can validate that because you see it. A pretty girl tells you not to do something, you're not going to do it. And I think that's what a lot of this is. I think that, especially fucking Leffen, I told Tech, is he trying to fuck her? I mean, what the fuck is the deal here? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. It's yeah.
Am I wrong? Tell me if I'm wrong, please. Tell me. I'm overstepping because I'm not in there like y'all. I'm not hard in the paint here. I'm just a guy who fucking sees. Oh, young Asian girl, kind of getting guys hard in the pants. You know what the fuck?
She even got hacks.
Yes.
Yes. That's like the craziest part about this whole thing. It's like Hax is like was one of the main people to like push this whole movement.
It hurts my head. I'm sorry, but like intelligence is attractive to me, right? And as soon as I hear her speak, any attraction that she has is out the fucking window, dude. Like when I hear
so monotone.
When I hear her speak, it's like the sound of a fucking jackass going. I'm like, what the fuck did she just say? Oh, she's a high school dropout. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Gotcha. That's okay. That's it. That's why I don't buy your bullshit, because you have the fucking IQ of a cucumber. Cool. All right, great. But you picked up the ball. You ran with it. You came out with that Leffen video. And now I really want to talk about Leffen. And I'm glad you're here so we can do that. Leffen's start, even in my time, in the era of the gods, wasn't great. You touched on something that nobody else is fucking realized, and I knew it, but I was like, what the fuck? Why is nobody talking about this? I don't have a platform to do it, so fuck. He was kissing Hungrybox's ass.
Yeah.
Like fucking slurping up that shit all day long. Fucking, he loved him some Hungrybox. He's just such a good player, and he just got me, and I'll get him next time, but he's just really good, and yeah, suck.
And then the 180.
Yeah.
Like it's so polarizing. Like how he went from he's such a great competitor to I'm not even going to shake your hand after these 2 sets.
I think that Leffen was smart enough to see the storm coming against Hungrybox, because
he jumped off.
And you made something. You talked about if you set a campfire, but you don't spread the fire. Did you cause the fire? I don't remember how you put it.
It was something like, what did I say? I was like, it was something where it was like, if you see a campfire or something and you like add gasoline to it, is it your fault for burning down the forest, even though you didn't start the fire?
So what he ended up doing was going back to the Overton window, putting small little things out there. One great one as far as, hey, fucking Puff needs to get banned.
Ban
makes no fucking sense. But you put it out there, and now people are like, oh, well, Leffen's a good guy. Let's put that out there. Yeah, and then it
slowly creeps in their minds. It's like, oh, maybe Puff's top 3. Maybe she's second best. Maybe she's the best character in the game. Maybe she's overpowered and is broken.
Yeah, because I believe that.
A lot of his arguments in that video is literally just, oh, she's easy to play, and she's hard to like inconvenience. Like, let's say you have cold hands or no UCF or something. Like, those are your arguments. Like,
so that's why she needs patient, to be and this man is out patiencing you. He's out thinking you. Yeah, but he's wrong, and that character, like that character's fucking Thanos' gauntlet, and you're fuck. That's why Puff is Thanos at this point. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. But it was enough to bleed into the community.
Yeah.
And HBox suffered for that. And let's get into that. Because I said it before, HBox would not have gone through as much hell as he did had it not been for Leffen. And I truly believe it has nothing to do with Leffen hating HBox. I think it was psychological warfare, because I feel like Leffen is the type of person that has to win by any means necessary.
Yeah,
he's the type of guy that if he saw your car in a parking lot and he knew that was your only way to get to the tournament, he would slash your fucking tires. He would put sugar in your gas tank to make sure you didn't make it. He would take a win by fucking count out. That's the kind of person he is.
Yeah, he'd do anything to get ahead, anything to get a dub.
And this is indicative of the interview he did where he talked about chilling. He had no problem with chilling, but he wanted to start beef with Chillin to get the attention off of Chillin.
Yeah, and to make his own brand.
And that's what it comes down
to. When Tech does that, it's bad. He's toxic. He needs to be deplatformed, you know?
Yeah. But when
when Leffen does it, it's just, oh, he's Leffen.
He has frosted tips, bro. He has frosted fucking tips, man. There's nothing that can beat those frosted tips. And then the time he had the fucking chili bowl looking haircut, he looked like fucking one of the Three Stooges. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Maybe I'm just getting old, and like y'all young kids are fucking, y'all have a style that I just can't pick up on. I feel like my dad, and you and your damn rap music, shut the fuck up. I don't know. But it all turned around for HBox, you know? Like, I think it is a perfect storm. Someone throws a fucking crustacean at the guy, and you define perfectly what crabs do, right? They pull other crabs down into the bucket, right? They can't see another motherfucker get out. So it's fucking fate, a crustacean changed the game. You see when that happens, and what I'm referring to is during a tournament, Hungrybox won, and one of the crowd members threw a fucking, was it a lobster or a crab?
Oh, it was a crab.
They threw a crab at fucking H-Box. I'm not fucking being facetious here. Honestly, they threw a fucking crab at him.
Literal crab at him.
The motherfucker got up, and instead of fucking being a bitch about it, he goes, "Fuck you, dude. You know how hard I fucking worked last year? Fuck you." Threw the crab back on the ground. You could feel the passion. Like, he was fucking hot. He was tired of it. I think he was tired of being the fucking villain, because he's not. He's just a fucking competitive guy. But I think that was the switch that everybody goes, wait a minute, what are we doing? What are we doing? What has it really gotten to this point?
Yeah.
And the fucking hate train kind of cooled down. It's still there to some regard, but
yeah, it's still being pushed by other people.
But not nearly. But those are Leffen fucking simps. I mean, they're people that are pushing that narrative.
Like, even like, I think like a few weeks ago, or not even, like IBDW lost to him for like the first time in 2 years. It was like malding about it because, I don't know, like Hbox aggressively popped off, and it's like, yeah, of course he did. He hasn't beaten you in 2 years, and now he's finally able to maybe be the best again.
Let me ask you this, because you'll know better than I do. When y'all talk about popping off, when someone goes, yeah, why do people take offense? I'm fine.
Yeah, it's like,
that's not a pop off. That's me going, motherfucker, yes, I did it.
You put all the work into it. Like, yeah, you should be excited. You put all that work and time into it, into like getting good, and now it's paying off. Like, yeah.
When did fucking these people become such fucking, for lack of a better term, pussies?
Yeah.
I mean, he's not throwing a controller like some Smash players do. Just look up
Leffen. Leffen.
I don't want to say it. All right, I fuck with the guy enough. He didn't fucking walk off and not shake someone's hand. He just, yeah, like he's excited. But that's disrespectful.
Yeah.
But so back to kind of like the Jisu slime thing. That's not acceptable. I understand she's your friend, or maybe you want to get in her pants, whatever it may be. You need to watch all fucking avenues of what's going on, especially when there's allegations of slander and defaming someone's character. So Leffen has been hard in the paint for Jisu. And I'm going to preface this next part by saying, I don't think, and I said it before, I don't think Zero is a monster. I think he's done stupid shit. And more evidence has come to light that he's not the villain that everybody's trying to make him out to be. Would you agree or disagree with that statement?
Yeah, I'd agree.
But if you would listen to Leffen and Jisu, he's scum. He's this horrible person. Jisu's statements would not have been as impactful if it wasn't for Leffen. Would you agree with that?
Yes, 100%. Because initially people didn't believe Jisu. People were like, you're crazy. You're wrong. And then Leffen comes out, corroborates it. IBDW, other people try to corroborate Jisu. And yeah.
So I'll ask you this. Why, in your opinion, what would Leffen have to gain from supporting Jisu?
Well, from supporting Jisu, obviously that means you're taking the stance opposite of Zero. Mm-hmm. Zero was by far the largest figure in the community.
Absolutely.
So by taking him down, those views have to go somewhere else. And who's it going to go to? Who's the second biggest figure?
I think that he was trying to do that to also get stuff off of MKLeo, because MKLeo was actually fucking killing it at that time.
Yeah.
So how do you can't beat, look, Leffen's not going to beat Leo. I just don't see it happening. So how do you get that fucking rub off of all this? You join the Me Too movement.
Yeah. And you pretend to be a hero.
Which he's not. And
it also plays into the narrative that, oh, he's changed since 10 years ago. Like, after already downplaying what happened during evidence.zip, he's changed from it. Like, yeah, I may have been a bad person back then, but look at me virtue signal now. Like, look, I'm changed.
You made a very valid point in your video saying that you do believe that Leffen has changed to some regard. Like, he's not going to go and yell in someone's ear who has a hearing disability and this.
Yeah,
and that.
He's not going to do that anymore.
But I don't think it's because he's changed. This is where I do disagree with you. Oh. I don't think it's because he's changed. I think he's become more cerebral. He may not do it. Doesn't mean he doesn't want to. he knows how to play the game better now than he did then. He knows that you can do more damage silently than you can if you're yelling and screaming. In my opinion, I think Leffen is far more dangerous now than he was then, because at least when you hear him screaming and yelling, you see the explosion coming. It's like a fucking tornado warning, and you can hear the sirens before it happens. Now he's like a fucking earthquake, and you can't predict that shit's coming, and he's gonna fucking do as much damage as he can and then get out. That's just my thought process.
I get it.
I see him as again, I want everybody to understand this is my opinion. This is not the franchise's, and if he agrees with me, that's fine. But I think the man is a monster. I think that he is so bent on getting over on anybody that he'll do anything it takes. And that's dangerous, especially with the fan base he has under his thumb that will literally do his bidding, and he can stand back with plausible deniability and say, I didn't tell them to do that. They did that on their own. That's sick. He's got everything he could ever want, and it's never enough.
Yeah.
It's disturbing. And I feel like you've touched on things like that and how sick his community is, but nobody's willing to call them out. And I don't understand why. I mean, if you have thoughts.
I mean, it's just like, as I said before, you either beef with Leffen for the rest of your life or you cave in and just just squash it and pander to him, basically.
Well, I'll say this. I'm a grown man. I've been on this earth for way too long to pander and kiss the ass of some goof with frosted tips. And as LTG said, the spokesman for Clearasil, I don't care if fucking Leffen's army comes here. Go ahead. I don't care. I don't care if they say anything because I don't respect him. I don't like him. I think he is pathetic. And I think the idea that he couldn't beat anybody on his best day without psychological warfare is pathetic. That's my feels on Leffen.
I will say, I think the only real way that I think Leffen's worse now than back then is his platform. Like, obviously,
yeah.
But ever since like this whole Hax debacle happened, he's been losing followers on all platforms. So
I'm glad to hear that.
Shows that there's hope.
Still faith. There's still hope.
There's still hope. Like, I didn't expect my video to do as well as it did. Like, when it was happening, I was like, oh my God, I just hit I was like, okay, we hit 10,000, okay, 20,000, okay, 100,000, 200,000, 300. I'm like,
fuck.
Wow. And it has impact. Like, he's losing Twitch followers. Like, what?
And I'm happy. I'm so happy you did it because if I really have to be honest, I think it's fear. I think people are afraid to speak out absolutely. Because they don't want the repercussions.
Like, but what happened to Hax?
Yeah. I think that you could and the thing is, I have nothing to lose. I'm not a Smash player.
Yeah.
I commentate on things. I interview people. That's what I like to do. And no one's going to, there's nothing that Leffen, Jisu, or anybody for that matter can do to cancel me because I'm right here in your face, emboldened, don't give a fuck. Because if this ends tomorrow, I have a 9 to 5. I'm good. So we're going to take a short detour because as much as I think this stuff, it does bug me. I'm sorry. I know this is not as like jovial as the tech interview, but I take it seriously. And I'm so proud of what you're doing because you're speaking your mind and you're not afraid, and good for you. But someone who is a weird little fucking annoyance, a little rat with wings shows up. And with his multiple subs and all this and is powerful, decided to pick on little old FranChise.
Oh, what's that about? Oh my God!
What the fuck?
So yeah, Long story short,
no. I want no long story.
The full story.
I want the story.
All right,
we're here for the story.
Tech made the Zero video, and he basically came to the same conclusion that you did. That Zero did something bad, should be banned for it, but it doesn't. It's not indicative of who he is today, at the very least.
Yeah.
And you can't really pin it as like a pattern of behavior or like a basically that he doesn't see Zero having a platform today being like a threat to anybody or a danger to anybody.
I'm gonna ask you because maybe I'm taking crazy pills. in the tech video before Ban Naira, right, where he had to fucking clarify when he did the Zero video, you didn't take that as him inviting him back to fucking competitive play, did you?
No, he had retired. He was retired.
3 years.
Yes.
But here's the problem with that. Commentary communities
doesn't know that. They don't pay it. They weren't part of this scene.
No, but they
don't know the history. They don't know
meat on a bone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that. Stupid.
Yeah,
they pride themselves on this idea of knowing everything on the internet. You dumb fucks. Well, look where you're at now. And I'm not going to cause rift because I know you're friends with y'all. You know, you've had private conversations with Tipster. Y'all squashed your beef. Cool. Not going to get into that. I'll respect your platform. But from my end, they can eat a dick. I mean, point blank. Sorry.
Like if you want to disagree with the opinion that if you're not comfortable with giving Zero platform, like that's fair.
But don't watch. But
my issue with John Swan's video is that he was purposefully like misframing Tech's video.
Yes.
Like saying, oh, the suicide section was emotional blackmail. Like, no, it was to give context. When Tech says this is a suicide note, he's not just going to leave it there. Yeah. He's going to give something that would corroborate that. Like
that's indicative of everything he's done. Like he always brings the facts to back up why he's making the statement.
Yeah. So obviously he's going to give a story from Zero and Vanessa on what transpired that day to corroborate him saying that it was a suicide note. Like, yeah, and if it's a suicide note, then it was obviously written under duress and extreme emotional distress from outside pressure. So it's possible he confessed to things that he didn't do, like the Laura situation, which was also there.
Which was, again, he debunked all of that in seconds.
Yeah, he could have easily just... He accused himself of the Laura situation, basically took blame for it. He was like, I could defend myself, but it doesn't matter. Yes!
Which he's done before. Okay, going back to the Jisu shit, I probably did this and this and that. Craigslist didn't even fucking exist in the fucking realm that she was talking about at that point.
Exactly.
So how is he admitting to something that could not have happened? Not by his witness statements, but by fucking just fact. It doesn't fucking exist anymore. So how did he fucking show you this stuff on the big screen?
On a big screen television with roommates. A big screen television with several roommates circulating the room.
I'm not gonna say fucking Zero is the smartest fucking motherfucker in the room, but he's not that dumb.
Yeah.
And a side note, shout outs to Vanessa, and I will say this every time I can.
Absolutely.
Because that woman, guys out there, you fucking simps who are fucking jumping on fucking Jisu's nutsack. Not that I'm accusing her of having a nutsack, I'm just talking shit, thank you very much. Opinion. That's the kind of woman you want in your life, Vanessa.
Yeah. Vanessa's honestly probably the biggest victim in all of this.
Oh, absolutely. And the fact that they make fun of the meal, like the fucking steak and mashed potatoes, motherfucker, fuck y'all for making fun of that shit. I like steak and mashed potatoes, even if I'm not upset. Go fuck you.
Yeah.
But to knock her, to treat her the way they did, to give this young one PTSD, but all she did was love a man. That's all she's done.
And that's all she did. All she did was exist, and Jisu was like, give us your birth certificate. That's
okay. Okay, fucking Tea Party members. We need the birth certificate now. Well, shut the fuck up, you crazy bitch.
Yeah.
So John Swan attacks poor little FranChise. What the fuck? And here's the thing that kills me. He has the platform, right? He has all these things. Why attack you? At the time,
apparently everyone was plugging my video as like a response to his. I had no clue. I was just like, he'll probably see this and be like, this is garbage and whatever. I didn't even expect him to respond. Then he responded on his main account.
Yes.
And he put on a blazer. Yes. He didn't even give Tech the blazer. He put more effort into his response to me than Tech.
Low flying plane.
And then he says, this video didn't make any good points at all.
I don't know if it's because he has a smarmy fucking accent. He thinks people are going to believe his shit. I don't get it. But again, he did more damage to himself in that video.
Literally the day before he, you could check his social blade. The day before he uploaded his video on me, it said +1,000. The day of -1,000.
So and here's the thing, like, and talking to Tech and just briefly discussing the John Swan stuff, he helped John Swan.
Yeah.
He gave him a platform. He was trying to give him what I would dub as the Sky treatment. You know,
Exactly.
revamping his career, dude. You didn't fuck a kid. You can come back from this. It's gonna be okay. We're gonna slowly rebuild you. We're gonna make you stronger. We're gonna make you the $10 million fucking swan. We're gonna fucking give you robot feathers. We're gonna get you fucking going, bro. And he was planning a hit piece from the beginning. That video came out too soon for it not to be fucking planned.
Yeah.
What a piece of shit. So he attacks you, looks like a fucking idiot even more. Then goes back to attack fucking technicals, which was beautifully done. I almost thought you two planned this shit because Tech used your arguments to make him look even stupider. It's not a word, but whatever. Like, he attacked fucking Tech, and Tech was able to use your fucking video to turn it around on him. You attacked a guy with 7,000 subs. The fuck is wrong with you, you fucking narcissistic creep? So where does you and John Swan stand now? Has he said anything else?
No, I'm just doing my thing. He's doing his.
Go back to editing, John. That's what you're good at. Talking is not your strong suit, bro. Don't. Just don't. All right, sorry. Back out of that detour. Let's move back to the main road here. You started a movement, my friend. A movement that I am proud to say that I'm with you on 100% in any way, shape, or form that we can get this movement going and continue. Your latest video, I think, has been your best. From thumbnail to delivery, presentation, everything, I think has been your best work. And the hashtag is ban Jisu. What made you do it?
So, when I was making the Leffen video, that was around the whole Zero debacle. So, Zero said he was going to be taking legal action against Jisu.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to, just make I was originally just going to make like a quick video just touching up on the GoFundMe. I ended up just doing a live stream, just like talking about it.
Okay, let's talk about that GoFundMe. For those of you who don't know, Jisu has been served paperwork. She's being sued for defamation of character, correct?
Yes.
By
and also causing like emotional distress. I believe was the other one.
So, and Jisu has a large Bitcoin bank account where she could probably fund her attorney fees and what have you, but she decided out of her own high school dropout brilliance to
impose it on the community.
She made two GoFundMes, correct?
She made one, but she changed it
to pay for her legal fees because she's the victim, the consummate victim in these situations. What are your thoughts on this GoFundMe?
It's borderline a scam, just the way it presents itself. Like, I'm not going to call it a scam for obvious reasons, but
opinion-wise, I think it's a scam.
Yeah, in my opinion, it is. Yeah, but just the way that she dishonestly frames it, like in the original one, I'm going to read you. Did you
please do
get a chance to see it? The original one, I want to show you this. She literally, like, you saw the thing she said about Sky.
Yeah.
To that person, I think whatever her name was, I forget.
Jezebel.
Yeah, when she was like, "Oh, you're a bad person because you don't want Sky to kill himself."
Yeah, and it's like I'm a bad person because I don't want him to fucking kill himself, and she fucking blocked her.
Yeah, this is a part she omitted from her GoFundMe. It said about Zero, fostering public sympathy after a suicide attempt. Do you think he just attempted suicide to get sympathy? Like,
there's hospital documentation of this motherfucker trying to kill himself.
Like, he purposefully failed his suicide attempt to garner sympathy. That's what you're saying.
We are talking about a high school dropout, and that's fact, motherfuckers. Don't give me shit. I didn't tell her to drop out.
Like, I could see why you'd omit that part. He was like teaming up with drama YouTubers to plot against his victims.
This chick is sick, bro. I mean, don't call her girlfriend, though. Don't call her girlfriend.
That's right. You'll get smacked twice. Smack two people in like 10 minutes.
All because your girlfriend likes Marth.
All because, yeah.
So, continue.
So yeah, like the more I looked into this stuff, I realized like at first I was like, I started getting into this stuff because of Hax. So I was like, okay, Leffen is probably the biggest threat to the community right now. We need to do something about Leffen. But the more and more I dug into it, I realized Leffen's just a side character in all of this.
Yeah, she's the final boss.
Yeah, she's the root of all of it.
For someone who doesn't want to get involved, when the shit came out, she was on like 4 different podcasts trying to preach her fucking narrative, and they were sucking that ass all day long.
It's like on her own like live stream, you could see like everybody's like all sad and stuff. Like, wow, I can't believe like all these allegations came out. This is crazy. This community, we all trusted these people, and they lied and covered up what they did. And Jisu's like smiling, like full smile, like, oh my god, guys, today we're gonna be talking about this stuff. It's just so funny.
Good.
It's so funny how she's like all giddy and happy and excited to like talk about this stuff, and everybody else is like actually taking the serious topic seriously.
So I'm gonna break character a little bit here, and I'm gonna say something that people may not agree with, but I think it's the truth. Jisu, at one point, was a victim.
Yes.
Very much groomed, taken from her home.
Yes.
I don't want to go into details, but yeah, there was a time when she was a victim, and I sympathize for that. I'm sorry. And Jisu, I'm going to say this plainly. I'm sorry for the things you went through. I really am. You didn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that mentally you can recover from that. I think you have. But I think also you haven't, in the sense that and trying to figure out why someone would do the things she's done so candidly, so blatantly. I think she's taking the anger on her again. I'm not a psychologist, not a doctor. This is all opinion.
Yeah.
I think that she's taking the anger against her oppressor and her abuser, and since she can't go at him, she's going at the closest people to it, the people that were there, the people that saw it, the people that knew about it. Sky, Zero.
It's like, yeah, Sky owned the house. He should probably be held accountable the most. But why is nobody else who lived there being held accountable for the stuff that happened there?
And in fact, but I also think they are. I think she's using them as puppets.
She literally, there were people like in that group chat that she had that she made to like orchestrate the statements. The people in that group chat knew what happened, didn't do anything about it at the time, and she was fine with that. She was like, okay, let's just take out Sky, who actually tried to do stuff.
I think there's a fear with those people, though, like, because they did know. And rather than be caught in the backlash and the collateral damage of this, oh yeah, Jisu, we're with you. We're with you, because it takes the light off of them.
Yeah, it takes.
But I'm going to turn that light back on them. That was wrong. And y'all knew what was going on, and you did nothing. So before y'all cast blame on Sky and say all of this, he's not the one to carry this whole burden.
It's a whole community issue.
Jisu, I'm going to throw this at you too. It's not their fault what happened to you.
Yes.
It's not. It is the fault of your groomer. And to sit there trying to turn it on Sky, who tried everything he could to, you could tell that he wanted to help, but how does someone, it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback.
Yeah.
And say, well, you should have done this, you should have done that, but you weren't there. And there's a lot of stuff going on in those, and it's indicative of the entire community. When I talked to Tech, he mentioned that people had offered him drugs and alcohol, and these things were recurring things that happened constantly. You've seen the community. Drugs and alcohol are prevalent in all these parties and these after stuff. It's there. These moderators don't do shit about it. They don't clean up the fucking act. There's no
find a scapegoat and pin it all on them.
And that's this movement. It's let's put it on somebody else. For God's sake, somebody take some fucking accountability here. Yeah. There are children watching children. This is how this happens. This is how a young Jisu ends up with a fucking predator who says, well, the age of 16 is legally consent in Ohio. This is how this stuff happens. And now you have a vindictive, again, opinion, not a doctor, not a psychologist. You have this woman who's jaded and pissed off and looking to gain everything by destroying everyone. Now, reversing back to who I am, I would have more sympathy if she wasn't so money hungry. This brand of hers, which you've talked about, 02, I don't know what the fuck it is. I could take a dump.
Creative expression.
I could take a dump in a plastic bag and it would be worth more than the shit she's pushing on this fucking website of hers. I take epic shits. Well worth the fucking $1,500 price of this controller that has a 0 and a 2 on it. Which I think there's another meaning to that, but I don't need to get into that. That's just speculation.
It's like going in fighting games, the bracket's double elimination. So, like, that's your record in the tournament. You had 0 wins, 2 losses.
That's her fucking record on life. She's 0-2. I mean, first Sky, now 0. 0-2. Sorry. But you have these fucking, simp fucking little boys coming on here and wearing your shit like that's going to make it more impressive. You have these guys bending the knee. And I'm going to be honest with you. You know it, Jisu. In my opinion, again, you know what they're doing. They'll kiss your ass because they think it's going to make them look good in your eyes. Because everybody wants to please you in this day and age. But there are people like the franchise here who are standing up to your bullshit. And I'm grateful that you're doing it because somebody has to. So as far as that Jisu video, we talked about the propaganda she's pushing and her website. $1,500 for a fucking controller? Are you fucking kidding me? Hold on.
Charity edition. Like the actual retail. Let me see. Like the actual price, like not even on sale, is $2,000 for charity.
I'm going to try something here. I'm going to try to make some money real quick. Hold on.
How is it sold out?
Oh my God, I saw that. How the fuck is this shit out of stock?
It's like, how do you sell this kind of stuff and then need to make a GoFundMe?
I know my thing's backwards, but it says, see, F you. I want 20 grand for this piece of paper right here.
That's your new NFT.
Yes, my new NFT right there. Jesus. And people buy this crap. It's out of stock. Oh, and don't get me started on the return policy.
It's like, I get it. Like, if you don't manage like the exchanges and stuff, like then I understand not being able to do like refunds. But at least sell something worth valuable.
Look, I'm not a shill for money, right? I do artwork, right? Mm-hmm. All my artwork I do on this phone, and I have a Redbubble. Shout out to the Redbubble. But the reason I do that is because if someone decides they want to donate, I don't want them to fucking just give me money freely. If you want, look, buy a shirt, buy a sticker. That way, I'm giving you something of value, something that I work my ass off. It's not 2 letters on a fucking black background. It's an actual fucking design that I made personally.
Yeah,
$20.
She's literally a professional artist. She's literally. That's the ironic part about this whole thing. Her whole
they brought her in to work on a fucking game with her artistic view.
Yeah.
Is it going to be Pong? Is that what it is? Like 2 fucking numbers and boop.
It's
boop.
never coming out. M2K was like, I thought this was a thing we're doing, and now it's not.
Well,
it was probably just going to be 02 characters. Just those are the characters. 0-2. Is a character.
And people buy it. That's the problem. People buy
that's
it.
And like all the prominent community figures did photo shoots for it. Even Ludwig.
I didn't want to bring that up.
No, I'm calling you out, Ludwig. Come on, dude.
Like, change your name. You need to change your name to fucking Lugnut because you're done, bro.
Like, he's just less bad slime. That's it.
And they're all less bad ESAM, so it just...
Yeah. At least, like, all ESAM has to do is not be dumb, and, like, I'll get off his back. That's it.
Hey, go box ring, all right? Go box ring. High tech. This movement, though, this movement you're pushing, it's good. It's a good thing. It's a good thing that you're doing the speaking up, because no one else would, because of fear. And that's what it comes down to with all this.
Yeah.
I don't know why people are so afraid. I mean, okay, so you're going to get banned, but you're letting this pseudo martyr win, and she's destroying people's lives. And talking to Tech, I really got the vibe that fucking Sky was going to kill himself.
Yeah. Sky, Zero tried to.
And Zero tried to. And I know I'm going to make a redaction because it was in my comments, one of the guys message. And thank y'all for the fucking for coming in, because I try to read every one of those. I appreciate your patronage and your talking and trying to influence and give me opinions from another spectrum. He didn't just save one life; he saved two, because he didn't just save Zero's life; he saved Sky's. And if these people had their way, you'd have two corpses in the ground, and nobody would have cared. That's how fucking sick this community has become. Just
imagine the truth of all the, like, a lot of the stuff, like, we wouldn't even get the truth because they'd be gone.
Yeah. And it's sad. And look, the value of life is gone. Like, I see so much sociopathic behavior here that they don't care. They don't. You're trying to laugh at someone trying to kill himself. You put it in your fucking GoFundMe that he faked a suicide, or he purposely failed a suicide. Who the fuck says that?
Yeah.
But if you show up to the funeral, we'll give you all free 02 merch.
Get that O2 grinder.
Yeah. Oh yeah, oh my god. Why? Just why? Why? I'm gonna make a shirt. Why? Just $1,500.
Easy.
So with this movement, what is your plan? What is your hope to accomplish in doing all this?
Probably just, spread awareness, because at the same time, like, a lot of the people that disagree with you, they're not going to agree with you. Like, they're just going to they've already made up their mind. To persuade them otherwise, it's just not going to work, because they'll just, as we said before, put you in a box. Oh, you're just like some crazy ISIS member.
Incel.
So the point, like, I was talking to somebody about this, like one of my viewers, and they were like, why, like, who were the videos intended for?
Mm-hmm.
So I explained it by making a pyramid and saying, like, okay, at the top of the pyramid, you have, like, the top players, the TOs, people who actually have power and influence in the community. They will never be persuaded with your arguments, because you're not worth listening to. You're just a madman or whatever. And then you have 95% of the community, your average fans and viewers and spectators, who might be able to be persuaded. And that's 95% of the community. It's like, the way they described it was like, so instead of going after the kings, you try to rile up the peasants to overthrow, essentially, like, come in waves.
So that's a very beautiful analogy. And the reason I say that is because without the people, we the people,
mm-hmm.
their entire kingdom comes crashing down. Now, this is very rare, but I do disagree with Tech on one thing. I don't want him to burn it all down. I don't want him to bring down a community that has brought me such joy, because it really has.
Yeah.
And I think I agree with your sentiment. There's enough here to salvage.
Yeah.
There's enough here to bring back that old community that we loved.
Yeah.
But it does take an army to do this. And for all of you listening and all of you watching, I want you to understand, and again, I've been a little more serious with this one, but you're as important as any of those TOs. You're as important as any of those high-level players, because without you, without this, they don't exist.
Yeah.
You have a voice in this community where you can come back and say, we're not happy. And for those of you who aren't players, for those of you who are fans, you have every right to say you're not happy. Because without you, this means nothing. Don't be afraid of the Jisus of the world. Do not be afraid of fucking Frosted Tips himself, Leffen. Don't be afraid of ESAM or Slime or any of these guys, because as soon as you click that button and you stop watching, you stop subscribing, you stop patronizing or paying to their fucking ideals, they mean nothing. You make this community work. FranChise, people like you who are speaking up, you make this shit work. Without you, this goes nowhere. And I think somewhere along the way, people have forgotten that. I want y'all to save this community. I want this platform. I want people to hear what you said here today and say, you know what? I'm not going to be afraid anymore. I'm not going to be afraid to and bullied into believing a narrative that is clearly untrue. The Smash community was beautiful once. Mm-hmm. It was a place where people competed and they fought so hard to get relevance and make a fighting game out of what people would consider a party game. They gave it notoriety. They put Smash on the big stage at Evo. And I don't know if you guys nowadays understand how big a deal that is. That is the same stage where Daigo Umehara and Jason Wong competed. That is the same stage where greats have become gods. And y'all were able to make Smash a part of that when so many people were against you. That is the fan base I'm looking for. That is the fan base that I want to rise up again and tell these people, you will not take what we held so dear. That's what I'm asking. And I know that is a lot to ask. But you're there. The minority is not so small.
I don't think we're a silent majority. It's just that we're too afraid to speak up because there are no top figures that want it.
They're afraid of losing their position. And I get it, right?
Exactly.
I get it.
Hax is an example.
Don't let what happened to Hax sway you from doing the right thing. Hax, look, for all intents and purposes, Hax fucked up.
He's owned it.
I have said from the beginning of this, I love Hungrybox as a competitor. He's a fighter from everything he's been through. And I don't need to retell his history. It's out there for everybody to see. But if someone like him, I'm pleading for y'all to reach out to him, reach out to the other guys, the original gods. And if y'all see something wrong here, please do the right thing. Lives are at stake now. And this is not like placating. Lives are at stake. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
So, sorry I had to go there with that little serious tangent, but I don't like it. It hurts my soul a little bit to see these people get away with the bullshit they do. So, like I did with Tech, I'm going to do with you. We're going to play fortune teller. I think that you do a fantastic job. I think that, yes, your tutorials are good, but I think you found your stride in these docs. I think from it being 8 minutes to being 40 minutes to being an hour, whatever, I think you are well-spoken. You're clearly highly intelligent. Where is the franchise going to be in 5 years?
I don't know. Just got to take it one step at a time.
Okay, well, let me reword that. Where do you want to be in 5 years? I'm not talking about life. I'm talking about YouTube, just YouTube and content creation.
Just want to be the best that I can be. I want to be in a position where I could just move on from all this drama stuff and just make the videos I want to make.
Well, that's exactly what I want to know. What kind of videos does the franchise want to make?
Really, just anything. Just if I want to talk about it, just talk about it. Like I have some videos lined up after. I'm probably gonna make like one more video about Smash drama and then move on to some other stuff like just talk about like video games, that kind of stuff. I want to talk about RNG and competitive gaming, its role, its place there. Might make a video about Twitch streamers and copyright and that kind of stuff. So just I want to be able to like. Above being able to inform and persuade, I want to be entertaining. I want people to be able to look at a video, be like, "Oh, that's the franchise," and just click on it, no matter what it is. Just be able to captivate somebody to listen to me talk about whatever.
I think those are very noble goals. I like that. So we've come past the hour mark. I want to thank you again for being so free with your time. I know you have a busy schedule. You're doing your thing. It's been enlightening. This is not how I expected it to be a little more shit talky, but I enjoyed every bit of it, and you surprised me a bit, which is in a good way. Trips, did you like the franchise?
Yes.
All right, you got the approval. So That being said, I'm Dan. That's a franchise, and catch you in the next one.
Thanks for having me. It was a great show. Great
Appreciate
time.
it. Thanks for not stealing my line, though. Peace.